Hi, I'm Nyonyarecipe. Today we're going to make Kuih Bulu or Kuih Bulu. Depends on where you come from. And this is my favorite Chinese New Year treat. It is actually a sponge cake and it was my father's favorite as well. So let's go and see how to make this Kuih Bulu. Making Kuih Bulu can sometimes be tricky if you're not used to it. Also, the traditional mold that we get today is not so traditional because it doesn't retain heat as much as the older ones. This is the traditional way of making Kuih Bulu. Dry fry the flour with a pandan leaf. Traditionally, we sun-dry the flour with a pandan leaf to get the pandan flavor and to remove moisture from the flour. Do not dry the flour in the oven, and it is not safe to do so. It might cause an explosion, just in case. It's in the middle of winter in the UK, so I can't sun-dry it. This is to make the kuih light. Fry until the pandan is lightly crisp, then cool and remove the pandan. Sieve the flour 2 to 3 times. Oh no, that's the old way. Now for the new way. Just add 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda to 120 grams of plain flour and sieve. There's no need to dry or fry. Then continue with the rest of the recipe. You will need 4 large eggs at room temperature, 120 grams of caster sugar, a traditional bahulu mold. I prefer a silicone mold and you will see why. Let's start by beating the eggs. There's no need to separate the eggs, just beat it whole together. You can use a stand beater like mine or a handheld beater. Then add in the caster sugar bit by bit in 3 additions. Beat the eggs on high speed. Beat until the egg is white, creamy and fluffy. Beat the eggs until it forms a trail. See, it forms a ribbon stage. Yeah? You should leave a trail. And then you do it on low speed so that there will not be very big bubbles there. If there are big bubbles, your kuih will have large pock marks on the surface and it will not look nice. Beat on low speed for about 2 minutes. Then fold in the flour gently. Sieve the flour over it bit by bit and fold in gently, making sure that there are no lumps. Repeat this step several times. At this stage, if you are not using the traditional method of using pandan leaf, you can add in the essence now. Vanilla essence is very popular, but now I'm using rose essence for a change. Fold in all the flour and then you transfer the batter to a piping bag. If you're still around, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Once filled, secure the top of the piping bag with a clip. You will need 2 piping bags. Snip the tip off the piping bag and then you pipe the batter into the silicone mold. The reason I'm using the silicone mold is it is non-stick. Lightly grease the mold before putting in the batter. Fill up to about 80% of the capacity of the mold. I think I've overdone it a bit here. For the traditional mold, the mold needs to be greased and heated in the oven before putting in the batter. Similarly, fill up to about 80%. You can use a spoon or two to fill up the mold, but it is much easier with a piping bag. It is more accurate and less messy. Put it in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius for about 12 to 15 minutes or until lightly brown, or up to the color that you want. Here we are, fresh off the oven. For the traditional mold, the kuih needs to be removed from the mold immediately when it is still warm. Sometimes the result from the traditional mold is not very consistent. This is a good result. Sometimes the kuih sticks to the mold and it turns out ugly. For the silicone mold, leave it to cool and gently remove it. This large one is easy to manage. We have a nice big star here. Look, it's pretty. Here we are, 4 big stars, very substantial. Here is one from the flower silicone mold. It is light and fluffy. Real soft. Let us remove the rest from the mold. It is very easy to remove. It is darker here and is lighter here as my oven is not even. I did turn the mold halfway though. It is so easy to remove. Well, there's some stick on it, so it's okay, not that much. No, there's a bit here and there. I got stuck. So it's good to use a silicone mold. So here's the Kuih Bulu or Kuih Balu. Oops, this is a big one. And I like it big because I like to eat a lot of this. So you see, it's very spongy. Here are 5 top tips for making Kuih Balu. Tip number 1. There's no need to dry fry or sun dry the flour. Tip number 2. Cheat. Use a raising agent. Tip number 3. Modernize. Use a silicone mold. Tip number 4. Try new flavors. Tip number 5. Beat the eggs at low speed towards the end to avoid pock marks. Here are 2 extra tips if you are using the traditional mold. Number 1. If the kuih still sticks to the mold, grease the mold and heat it in the oven before you put in the batter. Tip number 2. If the batter still sticks, well, you need to put a bit more flour into your batter by adding, say, another 10 to 20 grams of flour. Here's my favorite 2 top tips. Tip number 1. Cheat. Use a raising agent. Tip number 2. Modernize. Use a silicone mold so that there's no headache. I hope you find the video useful. And if you have any suggestions or any questions that you want to ask, please put them in the description box below. I'm Loretta Lee, Nyonyarecipe. Nyonyarecipe is a fine place for fabulous food, and I share with you my food journey. I appreciate your like and subscribe, so hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified of all the videos that I upload. And please share if you find my video informative and useful. So until the next time, until the next video, thank you again for joining me. So see you. Bye. Ciao. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.